Hello, this is the second of 3 short videos produced to promote the work of Bryan Charnley. Last time I spoke to you from one of the public display areas of the museum, but today I'm behind the scenes of the museum in its climate-controlled art store. In this video I also want to draw attention to this account of Bryan Charnley's life, which was written by his twin brother James, Art and Adversity, which UK customers can purchase from the museum for £19.95, including postage and packing. Just use the link at the bottom of the screen. Most of the artwork in the museum's rich collections is by people who have had contact at some point with mental health services provided either by Bethlem or its sister hospitals, the Maudsley or Warlingham Park. Though Bryan Charnley certainly had experience of mental distress, his link with Bethlem was rather different. And the story is one that is told in Art and Adversity. Charnley was reading a Sunday newspaper in 1967 when he came across a reproduction of a painting called The Maze by the Canadian artist William Karelek. Karelek had painted the picture while a patient himself at the Maudsley Hospital in the 1950s. And he painted it in order to depict all the experiences which he thought had contributed to the psychological problems that had led to his hospitalization. This painting, The Maze, captivated Bryan Charnley for decades to come and inspired him to execute a series of pictures of his own, depicting his own interior landscape. And I'm standing next to one of them, which is entitled Brooch, Schizophrenia. Charnley invented that noun, schizophrenia. He used it to describe himself in reaction to the stigmatizing transitive use of the adjective schizophrenic as a noun to describe a person rather than a condition, which Charnley saw as reductionistic and dehumanizing. I believe that Bryan Charnley first met the founder of Bethlem Museum, my former colleague Patricia Aldridge, when he visited the museum to view William Karelek's modern masterpiece, The Maze, which is part of our collections here. And then he introduced her to his own work, including Brooch, Schizophrenia. The story of Patricia Aldridge's interest in and appreciation of Bryan's work is told in Art and Adversity, and it's a poignant story, especially in light of the neglect of his talent more generally in the art world, and of the anxiety that fueled the artist. In a letter to his brother written in 1988, Bryan Charnley describes how badly he felt a meeting with Patricia to discuss the possible purchase of his works had gone, and then he writes, "A few days later, I received a slim, buff envelope, which I was sure was a rejection slip, but in fact turned out to be a confirmation of intention to buy both Brooch, Schizophrenia and a number of other paintings." I'm not going to attempt a scene-by-scene description of this painting here and now. There is a complete analysis available in Art and Adversity, but I do have time to point out a few features. Ostensibly, Brooch, Schizophrenia is a portrait of a female subject, but the inner experiences it depicts are ones that are shared by the artist. The microphone here, plunged into the cerebral cortex that is shown, most likely emerges from Charnley's conviction that his inmost thoughts were being publicly broadcast to those around him, to his shame. The motorcycle chassis and engine to the right of the picture here is interpreted by his brother as a reference to Bryan's unsuccessful attempts at motorcycle maintenance one winter in Leeds. "Nothing really works as it should," writes his brother in Art and Adversity. Bryan took this motorcycle up as representing his own predicament. He could not solve the central problem of his life in spite of his best efforts. And finally, I'll just point out the Snowbound scene at the top of the cranium here, which features a face to the right confronting the elements and whistling in the face of adversity, a gesture of courage and futility at one and the same time. This scene is one that is all too easy to relate to. by anyone who has had no choice but to face adversity and is expected just to get on with it. There is something exposing but also courageous in the public admission that this picture represents of the plight of the artist. The experience of many people suffering mental distress is that admitting to their own selves and then admitting to others that all is not well is the first step of them seeking the help that they need. Simply keeping a stiff upper lip, carrying on as if nothing was happening, and whistling in the wind to cheer yourself up is not likely to be enough to resolve a difficult situation. Well, I'll be back again before too long with one more short video featuring the work of Bryan Charnley. Until then, get your UK orders in for Art and Adversity using the link at the bottom of your screen there, and keep your eye on the museum's YouTube channel and social media for further updates. Goodbye from now for Bethlem Museum of the Mind.